Round of applause for my motherfucking supporters. I want to welcome everybody to this Up There podcast. You know who you dealing with, man. The biggest homie. I go by the name of Big Long. There's so much on my mind, right? But first I want to thank everybody that's involved with my launching and how I'm moving through the game and how people is receiving and being receptive to my message and the way that I craft it up. It's important that I acknowledge those, right, that's riding with me. Oftentimes I spend times on the naysayers and the criticizers because it's a point to be proven. It's something to be said. The time and the invention of the way that I'm doing it, I just don't want to be robbed. And I know I'm in the industry that like to rob us. And so sometimes the business that we doing, we're being robbed because of the standards of the business, but that's another conversation. I want to welcome everybody and thank whoever's tuned in this Up There podcast right now. If you one of my dear supporters and you want to tap in with me and message me and talk to me and all of that and get the video the same day drop as the audio, you head over to It's Up There Podcast on Pateron. So that's patreon.com/its-up-there-podcast. You get video same day. You get access to things that other people haven't had access to. And I'm just thinking, because my deal says I need to drop one episode a week. So if I do 2 episodes, I may put that second episode behind the paywall, whether that be an interview or just an episode by myself. So if you're listening, like, share, subscribe, you know all the things that everybody needs you to do and say. Shout out to Revolt. Let's keep the game where it belongs. It belongs on this side. We give a lot of love to everybody. Round of applause for the whole gang. Everybody's doing well. We send a shout out to everybody because everybody's doing well. Everybody's putting game down. And, you know, we come off as aggressive because we understand we in a competitive business. I would hope that those that's in the business understand that our viewpoint is only one of market share. So we're only interested in the market share, and we don't want to be disrespectful, but we definitely want to be diligent. And so sometimes it may be viewed away or it may be received away. I always tell people that the war on rappers makes racist people look at a liberated black male as detrimental, right? So as I move through podcasting, man, I'm doing a lot. Getting a lot of interviews done. I was just in Atlanta for a couple of days, taking care of a lot of business, a lot of shit going on. So I just knocked out a very dope interview with Derez, Deshaun, Money, Move, Parlay, a couple of other names down there in the A. And when I tell you them interviews are dope, I kind of got into a few things. See, I tell people who know me and people that's involved with my personal life, who don't understand my business, is starting to overlap. What you would consider personal time is now turned into business time for me. And there's no coincidence. I understand what's happening. I'm just hyper-focused. And now those in my life got to prepare to either deal with a man that's hyper-focused or get out the way. Because I don't need permission to elevate. The universe and God is giving me permission to elevate when he gives me the senses to make the moves that I make, the direction to go in the way in which I'm going, giving me understanding, placing me in a position to have vision and continue to press forward, whether it's going good or bad. Pressing forward is the number one goal. I see dudes that I grew up with or dudes that I know from the street, you know. High class street dudes, high level street dudes, you know, may got old half a ticket, old $700,000-$800,000 kind of guy. You know, these guys are my homeboys, you know, and so bump into some of them and I still see the same thing I saw when we talked a long time ago, right? You doing the same one too. Now, you just got a hard job now. Old street got one of the hardest jobs that's out there. It's a mental job, though. It's a situation. See, it look easy, but boy, the stakes are high. That shit is like you can win 500 by putting 500,000 down. You see what I'm saying? The stakes is extremely high in the street, and sometimes we make it look cool because we just cool individuals and we trauma bond with the rap nigga. They got us in a mean trick bag that I'm going to talk about. But first, before I go there, I just want to speak about being focused. It take a different kind of man, and a lot of the entrepreneurs and creatives and street dudes and regular individuals that listen to me, some of y'all are focused on something. Some of y'all looking at it saying, ain't nothing getting me off this. I don't care what the vibrations is. I'm staying hyper focused. And that's what I am. And sometimes I'm starting to see that I may become harder to deal with in regards to like with people that I used to deal with when I had a lot of casual time. And even when I talk to some of my street dudes, the connection ain't the same. Right? My conversations are different. My vibrations are different. My vibrations are high. I'm no longer in that trick bag. I knew the ceiling was glass, but I just had to reach up there and reach it. I just had to touch on it just to be sure. But I was for sure the whole time, and I should have been took a leap on the other side. But I was confused just like my other homeboys, and that's the thing. But some of them know better, but they don't want better. See, it's a two-step process. The first step is knowing better. The second is wanting better. Because wanting better is where the transition comes, and that's where you become uncomfortable. But when you focus on something, that means you anticipate to be uncomfortable. Meaning no matter the terrain, no matter the circumstances, I got a goal, and the goal is to get to the other side of the expectations that I put in place. And no matter what, I got to step and step and step and step, and nothing going to stop that. And that's how I feel about what it is I'm doing. There's nothing that's going to stop the goal. And the people that listen to me, they can feel that, and they know that. They probably feeling like that. Yo, Loon, ain't nothing going to stop what I got going. Boy, I'm on their neck with this haircut. Boy, I'm on their neck with this trucking business. Boy, I'm on their neck with the hairdo thing. Boy, I'm on their neck with the rapping. I'm right, high level. Everybody we high class, first class. Everybody that runs into me, they be like, yo, you be by yourself, boy. I'm telling you, boy, you were by yourself, boy. I knew you was a mom. But that's what you do when you focus. Sometimes when you focus, you got to go alone. Sometimes when you focus, they can't send nobody with you. All they can do for you is distract you. Even with me, the kind of individual I am, even if the person with me is saying, Loon, don't worry about me, I got me. Just because it's in me, I'm going to worry about them. That's just how it go. I travel the world alone, chasing a dream, right? Doing business with some of the biggest names that our culture has to offer. And I'm blessed to be in this position. I'm humbled that my name is mentioned in conversations with some of the people that's been in this game a long time. I have a lot of work to do. But one thing for sure, I'm focused. I noticed talking to some of my homies that they always want to tell me about how they been feeling lately. And I couldn't put my finger on why the disconnect was there until I realized they want to tell me how they feeling, and I want to tell them what I've been doing. That means somebody working and somebody whining. That's why the connection off. I'm hyper focused. It's a reason they send a sniper by itself. He don't need too many people around him to get the job done. Just stand out the way and give me a target, and everybody clear out. And no matter how far it look like I am from this target, it might look impossible to the naked eye, but you're dealing with a sniper. Right? And that's what I feel like I am in this game and in this business. And also being innovative in the business side. There's things I see that I haven't spoke on yet because I don't understand a lot of things yet. There's a lot of value in just having casual conversation about some of these high level ideas, right? So you must be aware that you in a game where ideas is like real estate and it needs to be protected as such. But we on divine direction. We thank God and the universe for being instrumental in what it is we're doing, and thank all of you that's listening currently. Of course, we're going to get into the Young Thug. We'll start with the Young Thug situation with YSL Records. For those of you unaware, Young Thug has been indicted along with 27 other people on 56 counts of Rico in the state of Georgia. Those names do include people like Gunna, Slime Life, Shouted, YSL Duke, among other names. I spoke about this with Parlay in Atlanta, and so, you know, he's an Atlanta guy. I was actually down there when they grabbed Thug, and the energy in Atlanta was interesting. Right? People were wondering what was going on. They grabbing all kind of people. The situation don't seem to be calculated. Seems to kind of be all over the place. So they grabbing people a little bit of this and a little bit, so people were kind of on alert as to what the hell is going on and what they talking about. A lot of the charges have dots that could be connected, right? But that's for the court to do their job. Loon don't do the job for other courts. Before we get into what the DA spoke to on a press conference, I want to kind of get into my understanding of the DA, the circumstances surrounding the case, how I kind of feel about rappers being under attack. I've always spoke about the war on rappers. People take that to mean, Loon, you endorsing self-snitching. I don't endorse self-snitching. I understand what that is that we're doing is trauma bonding. It's a reason the music resonates in the neighborhood differently when certain people deliver it in a certain way and say certain things. It's because people are going through those things and they're able to relate from a standpoint that lends people the ability to capitalize. I think it's no different than when a white pastor comes into a black church and he caters his message to reach that audience. It's unfortunate that we're ignoring the bigger problem, which is that's a lot of pain in the ghetto. If these dudes are able to rap about murders and it resonate. I know some of the people are viewing it as entertainment, but some of the people ain't. Way down in the jungle deep, they listen to that music because they feeling like that. They got oppositions. They ducking death in the same hood they have hood they on. They ducking death in the same hood they have hood they in, and they had a time in their life in. So they in unfortunate circumstances. But I stand by rappers being under attack. Number one, they using lyrics, and we'll get to that by itself. But number two, liberation can be viewed as a threat when you're dealing with racist people. The fact that I'm having enough money to provide a runway for other black people can be a threat when you're dealing with racist people. Now, how does that translate to a Rico charge, Loon? Well, Loon has a savvy mind. I deal with a high level of game, right? So my understanding says to me that no matter the amount of money we get, they got us in the trick bag. Because as we elevate, right? When we elevate, we put ourselves in a situation to put the government in our business. In the streets, you can't put them people in your business. And a lot of people stand on that, keep them people out your business. And that's the trick bag, because although we keeping them out of our business, as we try to warn each other and kill each other based on whatever problem we have in the ghetto, they able to use us against each other. So we fueling the investigation on each other. I shot at him, he shot back. We shot at them, they did this. It's all about what me and this dude, and we never called y'all about nothing. But the fact that we couldn't figure out a way to squash whatever we had going on, we pressing the line, allegedly. And that's in our hoods. And I ain't talking about them boys. I'm talking about in our neighborhoods. We in a situation to keep the police out of our business. But as we get more and more money, it's more and more eyeballs on us. Because when you look at it, number one, they don't step into some murders involved. And then number two, everything that they like to mention be what me and this dude had going on, right? So say me and a dude get into it and we at each other. I got my game tight on everything else. They ain't said nothing about they caught me with 1,000 pounds or they pulled us over or they got a dude who be with me with all that zip tight. All they got on me is that this open beef shit that we got going on. That's why they say beef is bad for business. Cause now they don't have to do no work. The streets gonna do the work. They just stand back and let niggas beef, and then they'll figure it out based on who saying what, who ended up in the hospital. Oh, so okay, so they shot him. He from that side, so he must have something to do. Like they just sit back and push shit together. They pin us against each other like that. But let's do some background on the lady that's involved in the case. The DA has indicted them. Let's point out a few things that I also pointed out speaking to Parlay and Derez Deshawn. This is a state Rico case. This is a very interesting approach. Number one, because it's very expensive to run a Rico. That's number one. Number two, the level of investigation usually for a Rico with the feds, they have laid A to Z down in a way that's paints a clear picture about the people that they have involved. This Rico with Young Thug and YSL the label has me viewing this as, hold on, we got some things here that's very weak. In my opinion, right, when I view the Tekashi 6ix9ine case and I hear all this Jim Jones talk, my mind says to me, you don't put Jim Jones on that Rico. That makes that Rico weak. Now you pull somebody in that gets hot, you pull somebody in now that you really don't have any concrete shit on. So now we get to argue to the federal government or the state that like, yo, they're reaching. Look what they're doing. They pulled this man in because of words that don't even mean that. And we can prove it didn't mean that. And this didn't happen and da-da-da-da-da. So the strength of the case is very important. You don't want to be viewed as you reaching. And when they put Gunna on the YSL case for a chain, it says something to me. Say you have a slat chain, so you're a part of the indictment. And you said something in a song about having 100 rounds or letting 100 rounds go or something like that, and you in the indictment. I find it very hard for that to be proof of being a part of a criminal organization, right? Or to further some kind of reputation for the gang or whatever that case is. Then they're saying that they have people in this indictment down as bloods that ain't even blood. So there's some things in this paperwork that just says that it's a show, right? Now, the trick is that when we ran in and got Thug, we got him with 7 new felonies. So for those unaware, when they picked Young Thug up, they ran in his house and they got silencers and weapons. See, that's the trick anyway. Our case weak, but when we go get him, we know he got to have a firearm because it's pressure, it's situations going on. People are being right, so he ain't going to be in there butt naked like that. He going to have something. So look good. Look, tear that house up. It's something in there to protect him. Right? And they found some shit, and that's where they gonna try to railroad him at. Because in my opinion, now with Gunna, they didn't get a chance to get him like that. I think he may, I don't know, man. The case just seems a little off to me. Let's listen to the DA at her press conference after arresting the YSL gang.
Today, I'm joined by the Atlanta Police Chief Rodney Bryan, as well as my sheriff and our Sheriff Patrick Labatt. We are here today about a grand jury indictment that was returned that included not just Jeffrey Williams, which is of some notoriety and media attention, but about 28 defendants that operated within our community between the time period of 2012 and 2022. It is our allegation that they operated as a criminal street gang and commenced to do havoc in our community. That havoc includes crimes of violence, crimes of thefts, crimes involving drugs. I've made no secret about it, nor any apology, that as the District Attorney of Fulton County, my #1 focus is targeting gangs. And there's a reason for that. They are committing conservatively 75 to 80% of all of the violent crime that we are seeing within our community. And so they have to be rooted out of our community. I said just a week or two ago, it does not matter what your notoriety is, what your fame is. If you come to Fulton County, Georgia, and you commit crimes, and certainly if those crimes are in furtherance of a street gang, that you are going to become a target and a focus of this district attorney's office, and we are going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. I agree with Chief Bryant. What you see yesterday and what you will see in the upcoming months and years is the result of a lot of hard work by both the Atlanta Police Department and this office. We are proud to bring forth this indictment and hopefully to bring justice to a lot of the community who was victimized through the course you see in this indictment. But more importantly, the most important thing that we are here to do is to keep this community safe, and we believe removing these 28 defendants will keep Fulton County safer.
So as you hear the DA responsible for the Rico charges that came down on Young Thug YSL label, she's a very familiar face. It's the same lady that said she was going to go after Trump. We know that not to be the case. Trump played with a different bag. You play with Trump, he played with them people over your head. So you ain't going after Trump. We ain't doing, we ain't going to play the game like we going to play the game. She's also the person that just got cash out. And let me be clear on my stance and where I stand, right? We want to make the streets safe for the kids, for our mothers. We want to make the streets a place where people can thrive and there's opportunity. I hear people talk a lot about targeting gangs. These are operative words that I'm not sure we need to look past. Number one, when you say targeting gangs, you mean targeting us, because what is a gang? They don't classify anyone outside of black culture as a gang. It can be anything but a gang. They'll call it anything but a gang. If you're not black, it's not a gang, it's something else. But when I hear such a serious charge and I hear such a vague approach at trying to convey the circumstances surrounding it and the justification of the approach, I want people to understand that's coming in our community and not understanding that some of these circumstances were there before we arrived, right? Certain things were activated, but certain things were there. Those conditions were there. Those conditions to have to even fight over the crumbs or fight over territory, because this territory is the only territory that provides some kind of structure for the family to do any kind of planning for graduation and prom. It's the money is right there. It's only so we fighting that was already there. I want people to know that, hey, yo, coming to lock us up ain't the only thing that need to happen when you talk about ridding our community of these circumstances. It ain't a one-step process like throw them all in jail. We need to provide runways in those neighborhoods. Take some of that money you use to fly them helicopters around and chase dudes around that you really ain't got nothing on, but two niggas beefing with each other. Use some of that money to put into them neighborhoods football camps and certain situations to catch them kids on the way up. So them kids ain't in them situations, but they don't believe in that. This all kind of red tape for one of us to get some money to try to provide a podcast set up in the middle of the neighborhood. But they don't got no problem spending $100,000 to pull 5-6 SWAT vans down through there to grab a for a federal probation violation. Wasteful spending. Unrealistic approach. And let me spend some time talking to the rappers. All the street that turn rappers that's really about that, because niggas is really standing on that nowadays. It ain't that cap shit from back in the day. Costume wearing that from back in the day. Dudes is really from these environments that they rapping about, and everybody's trauma bonding. But rappers, you gotta know which side the bread is buttered on. You gotta pay attention to the side the bread is buttered on, dog. If you've been able to get to this side of the street, you gotta kind of walk, and some of them trying to, but that other side is just, it keep pulling at you. But that street fame different than that. That street fame different than that little fame until you get mega famous. But that street fame, it hit different. Respect come with that street fame. Don't no respect come with that industry fame. Don't no respect come with that. The street fame got a certain thing on it. Get addicted to that street fame. Then I think to myself, Loon, why they don't get out? Why they don't escape? Why they don't leave the street alone? Then I had to think, Loon, they don't know how. They don't know how. They need some instructions. They need the game to be put down. And the missus got to have divine direction. So it got to come from someone that's anointed, that's been put in position. Not one of you niggas that done self-proclaim. It got to be a man that's been put in position to deliver the message. Like I remember being a young boy, they come through with the don't do drugs. Too cookie cutter, it don't resonate. It's a complex approach. My concerns is that they don't even know how to reach us. And the ones of us that can reach us, they'll let us get to a certain spot and try to use our past to destroy our present. The Rico allows them to go back in the past. This lady said 10 years on a state indictment. How do you got the funds to even do that? How does the state got 10 years worth of investigation money like that? That's a lot of cash to investigate for 10 years. Trust me when I'm telling you that the feds got unlimited funds. They can sit back and play the long game. But the state, now, the feds may jump in now because of the new shit that they found in the house. But evidently they presented that to the feds. The feds say, we really don't know what y'all doing. Y'all do what y'all do. And she presented it to the state and they returned the indictment. But the message that we give out, man, and how to navigate from street to entrepreneur and also dry off. See, the problem ain't, we really done master getting out the water. The problem done become drying off now. Because you know when you get out the water, you still dripping with all that you've been sitting in. And it's the same situation when we become legit an entrepreneur. That's why people that know us and love us and really believe in us got to pull us close and rid us and give us a runway to for real escape that shit. Because just getting out the pool ain't enough. You got to dry off. Sometimes we don't get the chance to dry off. But I remember them coming into school like, don't do drugs. Now, I take my kids down there and let them see what a nigga doing drugs look like, what he live like. Take them back to our house and this what working hard look like. But see him over there? See that? He don't know what's next for him. Right? So I need to show them we got to go under the surface to deliver these messages. In this indictment, it seems like they put together a lot of things that's happened online. It's the reason you don't hear me mention my counterparts. You don't hear me mention names or affiliations at all. If they get loan, they got to go underwater to get me. You got to go underwater to get me. It is never going to be me giving you me. And rap got to stop giving these folk them. But they make mention to a lot of cases, and if you go back, there's a lot of back and forth between him and YFN and Ruchi. Also free Ruchi. You know, that ain't my beef. My understanding of the game is just for me to provide my children and other people that I love in the culture some kind of runway to understand how to navigate, hopefully to Dr. Rico. Hopefully if we can examine this, we can save another youngster from ducking the Rico. Hopefully if I can put some game down about the little bullshit happening with such and such, hopefully that save another millionaire youngster that come up listening to this shit from going that same route, because ain't nobody talking about it. Loon gonna talk about it. But my advice to any young nigga, anybody, any millionaire, anybody within the sound of my voice, if you get a chance, homie, get out the street. Everybody really know that. It feel like I'm just singing to the choir at this point. Feel like I'm just preaching to the choir at this point. Seem like everybody should know the streets ain't what it is, except the one that didn't come from the street, the wannabes, like Tekashi. You understand? Dudes like that, we expect them kind of guys that still want to indulge in what they don't understand. But those that understand the streets, I would figure all us to know and to be well informed that everything we lost come from down that street. Ain't no sense in now. It's pleasant on the other side, young. Them little stripes I got from over there cost me a lot. Boy, them motherfuckers expensive. And they ain't got no value nowhere but the penitentiary and the street. The penitentiary and the street, the only place that shit work, and it's finna stop working there because they make guns big enough to exterminate niggas. So you better be careful with where you get your stripes from, where you shopping at, where you got your mind at, where you picking from, nigga. You want a degree or you want a first degree, nigga? I'm talking about putting game down. You keep telling me what you think about it. I got to understand what's next for my children. This world, I can't leave them without an understanding of some of this bullshit. Whatever I can speak on, whatever limited understanding I have, because I'm not smarter than the next man by no means. My experiences has caused me to evolve in a certain kind of way. The same way the shark only gets a certain size if you put it in a tank. It's the same way that they have curated my ability to understand some of the bullshit that they place in front of us and call it culture. I've been speaking on it. It's part of my motherfucking repertoire. It's part of my ingredients. I stand on it. But you got to hit me, homie. It's imperative to get out the street. You got everybody depending on you, home. Just think about it like this. I heard Wallow say this and it was good game, and I done put it in my back pocket ever since I heard him say it. Nobody in 100 years in your family might can't hustle like you. That ability you got, Antonio Brown, and catch that man, it may be 100 years for your family to get another one of them. You better figure something out about that paper. Why you got a chance? Say, Loon, your kids may don't got the hustle you got. You better figure something out. They may ain't produce nobody else in your family with that understanding. You may be the last entrepreneur for 40 years. We hope not. But hope is not a strategy. So we got to hustle like nobody else I got to set everybody up. And so you got to seize the moment. And the moments that you going to seize in the street ain't going to give you no motherfucking money. The moments you going to seize in the streets, all them little moments you can hang up on your wall. I mean, I was in the club, dude, you got wrong. What I do? Tell her what I done, kinfolk. Man, he come through, he knocked 5 of them niggas out one night. That ain't worth nothing nowhere but that conversation right there. I expect us to be smart enough to know the streets is a place that taught us things that we can use to execute in the industry. And not one particular industry. We run circles around people because the mindset. Because what it took for us to have to climb out of whatever hellhole they thought we was buried in. Every scratch, every claw, every inch, every move up. We remember what it took. We remembered. Right? And the fact that you didn't drive through that tunnel, you can't tell nobody where the lights at. And so for us, man, we are able to provide other people who share the same experience a place to dwell. But all the voices in the culture got to be louder, and we got to amplify voices that's saying, yo, nah, y'all listen, yo. Cut it, streets over with. You past that. I'm talking about completely. Let the homies know if they can't respect it, stay out the whip until they can respect it. And it don't mean when you come over here, I'm blessing everybody with an M off the rip. It may take some, but now we can't mix and blend these two right now, man. This opportunity won't allow for me to fuck it up. I may not have another one of these in my family for 100 years. And in my opinion, street know if you got any other way to get some legal money that can sustain your lifestyle and you still in the streets trying to mix and blend and bullshit around all day, nigga, you fishing with your hands, nigga. You look fishing with your hands. You understand? You fishing with your hands. You don't know what's under that water, man. I'm talking about, I remember my last charge in 2016, my lawyer, Richard McGee, told me. He said, Loon, what are you doing? At this time, I had some industry shit going on, and he had helped me close a few deals, so he knew what was going on with me. I would run even entertainment things through his firm, and so he helped me clear a couple of checks. So he knew, like, yo, you bugging out. He like, bro, this is my lawyer. This 2016. He said there's more informants out here than it is just customers. The ratio ain't even right. You smarter than this. He didn't say all that, but in my mind, it's what I'm thinking. When he said there's more informants out here than regular people, this how he put it, a white lawyer, slick now. But me, what I translated and said, damn, so it's more informants than customers. That ratio off. I'm a risk assessment. Don't make he kind of decision. How am I in the game where everybody I'm plucking from, 3 out of 10 is cool? And the other 7 is either police, ain't gonna pay, money ain't no good. It's something going on with them. Them odds is off. And then they got a way to play with the taxes. Like, it's just game we got to be put up on. That's why I champion Rashad, Aaron Yalees, and this game we need to be put up on. You see what I'm saying? But if you still in the streets and you've been provided any kind of luxury, and this is for me to let niggas know who listening, homie, if you got the ability to, homie, transition. If you got a half a million, this is to you niggas with 5, 6, 7, 800,000 dirty money. Go buy something. Go buy a business. Don't be the dumbest nigga with 2 feet. Stop fishing with your hands. You keep going to see the plug with half a million. Who taught you little the game? Know an opportunity. When you got an opportunity, you got capital. If you a street with some money, you got capital. That's what a lot of businesses is needing. Especially without bank input, you got capital, homie. You got to turn that into something. And so I'm trying to help niggas understand how to navigate from the street to the other side, because it's pleasant on the other side. But I also know I can't just tell a nigga, first of all, you're going to have to take a risk, but then you're going to have to turn the ball and off for a second. Yeah, you got to turn the ball and off. Chanel ain't going to see you for just a second. Gucci going to have to hold up. Louis going to have to say, give me just a moment. I'm stacking that paper right now. I'm on a mission. I got my eyes on something, and it say that I got to leave y'all just for a second. But boy, when I come back, I'm going to double and triple up if I want to. But we got to learn how to turn the ball and off and turn our hustle on and know how to transition. I tell niggas all the time, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You look at it for what it's worth, you got capital. Your only thing is now is to move it into some sort of business. But I forgive you niggas. I forgive you because I know it's rough. I know it's hard. I know ain't nobody told no nigga he don't know how to turn the ball and all. Shout out, I'm fucking with, she loving how it is right now. We living like kings. But I got to sacrifice what I got for what I need. I got to be able to sit, baby, now, hey, baby, we need the transition. What we got right now is cool, but what we need is what we got to get after. And so I'm just trying to get in the game, because I know you don't break a bird wing and tell him to fly. You don't take the street from him and tell him, now what? I got 400,000, now what? Somebody got to lay some blueprints down. That's why we got to lock in with the real ones and get that information to the people. But man, you got to get out the street. If you still in the street, you fishing with your hands. The other thing I was thinking about with the Thugger thing is, like, when you listen to them, they say 10 years. I've already pointed out that 10 years is a long time to be running an investigation, number one, because it's expensive. Number two, that would mean that, according to you, you've allowed a certain level of crime to continue on those streets that you care about so much. These are interesting facts, and these are just surface level. Pretty sure underneath that there's some things that can be questioned. Now, we don't say whether or not people are innocent or guilty on this side. We just want to point out the very complex strategies that's being used to target some of the names that's involved with our culture at a high level. I think without having that conversation, we ignore a very big piece of what targeting gangs and things like that indicate. And I think that we can't function without identifying exactly what's happening, right? I think dealing with Thug's situation is rough and it's complex. You know, my concerns are complex as well, but I think about all the video guys. You grab 28 people, a lot of those guys being artists, they grabbed a lot of the label. But you grab 28 people, all the video guys just hit, all the producers. See, the well-to-do label guys, they're okay. They afraid as well, not afraid, but they may see a spike right now, but depending on how long these guys are gone, this is an asset that you have behind bars. So they may look at it from, I would give them anxious. I wouldn't even give them emotionally attached to it. I would hope names like Leo Corn and things like that would stand by his side. Some of them people involved in 300, Kevin Lyles, and some of the biggest names in music, you know. But again, if you done made it past the gun line and you still in the street, you fishing with your hands. And I want the kids to know, and the coach and our onlookers and the people that really is not familiar with how things work, to understand something. Thugger went to jail, but he had to take Jeffrey with him. See, the thing is that sometimes when rappers or podcasters or athletes or some of these big star niggas come out, they can leave Jeffrey at home. They can leave they regular self at the house and bring out the rapper, bring out the athlete, bring out the character of what you know them to be, even though that's part of me, but it's still the other side of me that I tend to leave at the house. But when they take you to the penitentiary or they take you to jail, you got to take both of them coming with you. So the things that affect Thugger may not affect Jeffrey, but everything that affect Jeffrey affect Thugger. And when they lock you up, they go past that wall, that celebrity wall, and now they affecting everything personal. You go to jail with your rep. You go to jail with the little name you got on the street, the $1 million status and all that. But them kids' daddy go to jail. That woman's son go to jail. Them people that, your auntie favorite nephew go to jail. You understand? My bestie go to jail. My brother go to jail. These is family. It's hit a little different. You understand? So, I need the kids to understand that when we outside and we doing things, right? And again, trust me, I understand the maze. Niggas is in a maze. It ain't just as simple as get out the car. I made the analogy about the dare thing. Hey, don't smoke drugs. It's bad for you. Now, you got to tailor that a little different. They got to feel what you saying. Where we come from, people, we good at saying things. We got to feel it. That's why preachers go so far, because they deliver those messages with passion. And when you can deliver it and people can feel it, it just clicks a different thing some kind of way. Not only does the rapper or the athlete or whoever's regular self, your most vulnerable self, that you can stay in the house a few days because you ain't feeling good. You don't want to be bothered. Ain't none of that in the jail. So you take him. He has to go into the jail as well. Not just this big bravado, big gangster, stand on business. But not only that, when I deal with how they look at me and my homeboys, that's why I'm careful with how I move with this thing. That's why you don't hear me do certain things or say certain things. I'm fully aware of how, if they come get me, I just said it, they got to come underwater to get me. They got to go underwater to get me. Nah, ain't nothing showing on top of the water. Ain't look like ain't nothing going on in it. You got to come underwater to see, man, it's 10 million fish in this motherfucker. But ain't gonna be no situation, I would hope, that I'm aware of, that I'm furthering any kind of understanding of what could be considered involvement in any kind of thing that would be on the other side of what is viewed as the law. You see what I'm saying? I just can't put myself in those kind of situations. At least I try not to. But there is a thing where they can call you and your homeboys a gang. Just me and my homies. They can classify that as a gang, man, and they only kind of do that to us. They're very specific on how they use that gang word. They're very specific. You can rush the Capitol, they won't call you a gang. You can be the KKK, they won't call you a gang. But some black, some finger signs, and a little sagging and some money going on, they're a gang. And that's how they get us every time. Because I want to talk to the people who are going to say, and my message is always, get out the pool, right? That's always my message, get out the pool, get out the street. Ain't nothing, can't do nothing but drown in there or your skin get wrinkly. It's just get out the pool. Ain't nothing in the pool. Dry off. Let's get something else going. Right? I'm always telling dudes to exit the street. I'm always diligent in that. I'm always trying to be instrumental in guys having an understanding on connection with Earn Your Leisure or some of the people on their platform to provide you a runway to become an entrepreneur with the money you got, the risk you willing to take, the understanding of marketing strategy you have, your ability to supply and demand and understand that, and even forecast. Right? Some of these street dudes are high level entrepreneurs, and sometimes they just don't have a blueprint It need to be packaged. It need to be put to them in a way that's not only tangible but digestible. And sometimes we're able to bridge those gaps. But I want to talk to the people who look at Thug and some of the rap dudes that get in their career and they get going and they become multi-million-dollar dudes, and then they make some of these mistakes. And we all look at these things and say that a fool is only tricked once. Right? So if we from the streets and we've been involved with criminal activity or possibly been arrested at a young age, we know that the clock has stopped on our involvement in being in any kind of game that takes all this away from us. We now become a trampoline to the people we love, and to do anything outside of security that will make us a fool, and a fool and his money will soon part ways. What we will never do is go in the trick bag. So what we always identify is say, damn, these get up and they get to it, but I have sympathy for what's been happening to us. I know the trauma associated to the development of how we came up. And I also know that we all are human beings and creatures of habit. I know how the mind works, and the mind can be convinced of things that may or may not be reality. You can feel like you above the law because you've been getting millions for a while and ain't nothing really happened. We got it secure, it's tied up, it's tight around here. We think we got it to a place now, but what we damn near this ship here rolling. That's why they ain't came in, because they can't get us. You know, you can go to thinking that, but it ain't never that. It ain't never that. You in deep water. You don't never relax in the middle of the ocean. Unless you on a yacht, but is in the middle of the ocean, just in there, just they body, humans just in the middle of the ocean. You need to keep swimming to either go all the way and try to figure something out, or go over here, get as much you can get and head back to safety and figure something out. And always remember, boy, I know how to swim to that other side if ever need be. Boy, I got that trick in my back pocket. And that's how I always look at the street. Right? They can't take from me what I know in the street. So if everything go left, because I ain't doing nothing. If everything go left, God forbid. You see what I'm saying? God forbid they send us back to that devilish hellhole. But if all else fails, God know that we know how to provide some kind of way for the people we love. But again, being on so long and nothing happening but happening, you know what I'm saying? You may go to thinking, but if it was me, when they got Ruchi, I probably would have thought they probably finna try to come, cause that's their trick to get the dude you beefing with. Once they get the dude you beefing with and tie you to him again, they just use us against us to get both of you out the way. But from the outside looking in, you look at dudes like Thug and Casanova, some of these niggas that failed. You look at them like, bro, you winning the fight. What is you doing still involving with that? Number one, a win is always relative. Called me, said, boy, if they give you $2 million, boy, you know how to make it look like 4. You understand? It's because we have an understanding like, yo, you think a $2 million is a win because I may make it look like 4 million. But really, I need 8 million to feel like I won. But you don't know that, because a win to you is just getting out of that hellhole we come from and what we call home. So I get it, right? It's always relative. But when it's in the fight and familiarity breeds content. So say I'm somebody in the game up 10, 15, 20, 30 million. Like, this ain't my first check. This my 150 good check. And I done put in position to get million. So now, however I operate, I think I got this by the neck, and I think this game belong to me. And ain't really been no major slip up. It been some things happening, right? But I'm talking about with me. Long as the head don't come off the top of it, everything else, you can get another arm, the arm or heel, you know what I'm saying? But if that brain get fucked up, that's when the body have a real issue with surviving. And that's what they try to do. They try to come and get the brain of the operation, which is with the finances, with the operation, with the ability to bust a move. He the guy that if they get him, everything else seems to fall by itself. Just give it time. You see what I'm saying? So that's the idea. But sometimes you say they winning the fight, but I was telling Parlay, like, you don't know. Sometimes in that fight, you don't know. Like, it's why it's a nigga outside the ring that's hollering, watch for the jab. The jab is tearing you up. It's because something's happening in the ring that is not translating. Something is, you in there, you getting hit with the jab and don't even know where is it coming. I know he catching me, but you throwing him too. So, it's a fight going on. And war is bigger than a fight is. So in the event that you in war in the street, that's why I'm saying, bro, we got to find a way. We got to find a way, man. But again, a lot of this ain't my business when death is involved, because I try to get out the way. You see what I'm saying? But we'll move on, man. I just want to say free YSL, free Thug, free that team, to see what else we got to speak about this week. Let's talk about Fujiano and Renny Ruchi. For those of you unaware, Fujiano is artist from 1017 Gucci Mane's label that's currently incarcerated. He's from Georgia. He has a couple songs out, some platinum records, song Baby Mama, a couple records. He doing super good. Renny Ruchi is also a female artist. Believe she's either gold or platinum. She's been on Love and Hip Hop, things like that, moving around, right? So they was one of the up and coming couples in hip hop that people looked at, right? Fujiano fell, right? In the street, we call that falling when you had to go and do some of that time. So he went to have to turn himself in to do some time in jail, and this is where things get real. Because the relationships will be tried when jail is introduced, right? Anytime hardship is introduced in any relationship, partnership, involvement, this is where the times will reveal who, what, when, and where. Now, in men's case, a lot of things tend to be revealed that we didn't want revealed once we go to the jail. Because oftentimes a lot of those 52 fake outs we've been running has now came to fruition. Whether that be from phones we had to leave behind or just clues we left behind that in the moment is not in the wide open, but when you gone for a while and she got time to clean the house or she got time to do this or that, some of these things she's able to find, like, oh, I found the hotel key, or I found some condoms in the thing, or I found this girl's number, or whatever that might be that's happening. A lot of times the jail reveals true intentions from the man's side as well. Not saying none of this is the case here, but we just want to examine that what happens when love is tested. When love is in a situation to have to be involved in some turbulence. What happens when love isn't just calm, isn't just lovey-dovey, isn't just easy, like Sunday morning when it's hard, like Monday morning. You see what I'm saying? When you put yourself in a situation where you love somebody, but everything ain't gonna be peaches and cream, especially when I fall on hard time. My biggest fear be like, yo, I try to create moments that, like, if something happened, that if I could, I would. And when I did, I did. When I had it, I did it. Right? In case, something ever happened. And sometimes dudes don't get that respect from what they did when they was balling, and then they fall. The same girl you were balling with won't even look at you the same. And if I had $1 million, how you will be living. But they don't got no respect for the future. You know what I mean? They don't got no respect for your mind state. They got respect for the present only. Right? So when you deal with that and you go behind bars, and you have to now try to have a balancing act in regards to your relationship, because you don't want her to have to do the time with you, but you also don't want her to do certain things that'll put you in a situation to feel played or feel like, you see what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, what do you do? But one of the prayers you have when you go to behind that prison wall and you was a status of balling, you just pray that those memories that you created with old girl last them years that you facing. You know what I'm saying? If they can just, the trips to Paris, the trips over here, the bags, the this, whatever it was, just hope they last these years that I'm facing behind this wall, man, because I'm in a fucked up situation, but it don't last long. It ain't gonna break me. I'm a warrior. You know what I'm made of. Just hold on. Sometimes they just can't hold on. It get hard on them, though. They get hard on them. It just ain't easy on them. So when we give them a pass, right? You know the choosing thing. Whatever you choose to do, that's your thing, right? We ain't doing no gorilla. Ain't none of that happening. We gonna keep it P. If it hurt, it's gonna hurt when don't nobody know. But we gonna make sure that we gonna bounce back major. But I be hoping that the memories I created last the years I'm facing. Somebody tell somebody that I did something about it. You see what I'm saying? Don't just leave me out to dry now, cause then folk got me in a situation where I'm facing whatever y'all think is way too much to handle. But let's read the article of what was said about Fujiano and Renny. This is from the Shade Room. All good things come to an end. Renny Ruchi had become a topic of discussion after folks thought she was cheating on her fiance, Fujiano. However, this isn't the case. Renny has cleared the air and announced she is no longer engaged. The Can't Be rapper tweeted, "You can't cheat when you're single." If you recall, Renny showed Fu tons of support while he serves a 5-year jail sentence. Renny Ruchi revealed she is no longer engaged, right? And it was last year. So on her 30th birthday, she shocked the world by revealing that Fu popped a question behind bars and showed a lavish engagement ring. So best birthday ever. So speaking of relationships and things, we'll talk about the baby and Dana Lay. I always say these relationships, these industry relationships get real tricky, right? It's like being in the woods and finding somebody. If you can just find somebody, because I'm telling you, black people that come from nothing, that change it, first generation millionaires, it's a different experience, right? When you get up to that level, man, it started to get a little slim in regards to what's safe, what I can really trust, what is the love real? Is it a transactional thing? It get weird when you get that paper. First generation. Now your daughters them will be all right. Your sons them, cause they come up in this. So they can spot a snake with a rich daddy. You understand? They can spot a snake with a rich mother. They got her daddy. Right? They can put them right, so they'll be able to have that information. But these first generation millionaires involving themselves with women that need a help up, or men that need help up, because some of these women are first generation millionaires and dealing with men that's in situations that trying to leech and live lavish based on your lifestyle. Yeah, what you do is lucrative, so they want your leftovers, but you got to look alive. Ain't no sense in being going in the trick bag about none of this. So you got to be diligent. It's like, again, I said, when I see somebody like Cardi being Offset, or Nicki and her dude, or just people who are Gucci and Keisha, just evenly yoked type things that seem like, yo, we may come from kind of the same environments. That don't mean she gangsting. She gonna shoot them up, bang, bang. I'm just saying she understand the black experience. The higher you go up, the less people that even understand the black experience. I remember hearing Meek and talk to them dudes about people going to jail. That ain't nothing where we from. That's the lowest level of the game. Man, it is trickery going on. They having real live mental jujitsu where we from about the crumbs of it. You see, so you understanding my experience allows you to provide me a luxury lifestyle in regards to just us being around each other, the environment, the energy. I don't want to see a lot of people just say, do what I say. Now, at a certain point, that turns into weird, right? Like to do what it is for me that I need, right? What I say is just part of, you know, me trying to give you some sort of instructions or manual on what it'll be like for us to live in a way where I'm happy. I'm willing to receive your instructions on what it is and what that looks like for you to be happy, so that we both can live happy at the same time. That's what a relationship is about, in my opinion. But it gets tricky. So the baby and Dana Lay, for those of you unaware, that's his baby mother that went through a situation online in which he had to put her out. I spoke about it, you know. I spoke about the baby going through a lot at that time. He had lost his brother. You know, dude just done went through a lot. She went through a lot. They family, they gonna be family. That's just how they go. But we won't examine the game because it's important to understand, man, for all of us to learn how to even love and treat each other. And for me, we just talking. We just pod and we trying to figure shit out on over here. But she dropped a song. Song wasn't bad. Sound like a scissor type vibe. It wasn't really a bad record to me. It wasn't something that I was like, yo, cut this off. It was like, I'm like, okay, I see where you going. I see what you got going. You doing your little 1-2. I see you. You were talking about my mother don't like you, brother want to fight you, all that right there. You toxic, you know. Just speaking about her experience in the relationship, we don't want to negate any woman's experience in their relationship with these men. I think what we also want to be aware of, though, is that we want to examine both sides of relationships. Right? Because both people have a story, and then somewhere in the middle lies the truth. Perception and the way that you view it and your experience is just could be different. I know people that read books and get two different things from it. Watch movies and get two different things from it. One thing is consistent. The end is the same, but how I felt about the movie. What I felt about that character and his role, and I didn't see him that way. Right? So it's just about all of that. But communicating what happened should be an option for both sides. I think that in our culture, though, men don't communicate how we need to be treated. We don't communicate our standards. I'm not sure if it's being muzzled or it's viewed like not masculine. I'm not sure. I don't have an issue with it. I'm comfortable communicating about things that people may or may not view as whatever. I do what it is I want to do. But she's now communicating what happened that night with the great and powerful Angie Martinez. Been in the game a while, for those of you unaware. We're going to take a look at a little bit of this interview, and then we'll come back with some game.
Do some things.
No, for sure.
Which I feel like there's so many things I want to catch up with you on because it's been so long. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the elephant in the room obviously is because you've been quiet. You have been like on purpose quiet, right? Like you've been kind of probably sorting through what you had to deal with. But it was November. Mm-hmm. This IG Live happens, and it was just from the outside and not knowing what was going on in your personal life, it was hard to watch. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was like shocking. Mm-hmm. What could you tell us about what was happening that day for you?
I would say me and him were in a very bad place in our relationship. Mm-hmm. I had left before that. Like there was a time where I left before that, and then we tried to work things out, so I came back again. So I was living there for the 3 months, and my baby was born in Charlotte. So it was just a bad time, bad everything. Yeah. Like we were just really going through it, and you know, a lot of things were said, a lot of things came out that night.
In front of everybody.
Right. We were like, I'll admit, we were pretty lit. I was drinking a bottle of wine, like, and so it all came out on that live for sure. And yeah, it was very triggering and very sad. I wish it didn't happen because I don't want my baby to see that later on in life, but she'll grow to be her own person and be able to take things in. And yeah.
What will you tell her about that day, about what was happening? Have you thought about that?
I have thought about that, but it also, I feel like, just depends on the type of person she grows up to be. Like, the only responsibility I have is to, you know, just raise her to be a strong woman, and she'll feel how she feels. I feel like she's her own person, so.
The thing about it is, like, we all listen, everybody been in relationships that were healthy, not healthy.
Right.
You're not the first girl to be in a relationship that maybe could wind up where that was, but I think what shocked a lot of people is the way that he was talking to you and the things that he said. He called you his side piece. He told you to leave the house. It just seemed like it was a really toxic situation. That wasn't the first time that had happened for you. What was it like? What could you tell us about your relationship and the situation you were in?
Well, me and baby have been talking been together for about like 3 years on and off. We started talking like September 2019. So it was toxic. You know, we had our really good times, and
I was gonna say, it doesn't start toxic.
No, we were like this in the beginning. Like we were in love, like that honeymoon phase. Like, you know, it was really good. We both were kind of at our peak of our careers too. Like I had Rolling Loud, he had Rolling Loud the next day. Like it was just always like we were always both so busy. I had Fashion Week. Like it was intriguing for both of us to be like, you know, doing good, and like we would be supporting each other. So It was good. And then, of course, he had his little mess ups and stuff. So we'd break up for a month and then get back together. And then again, we'd break up. We broke up a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot of on and offs going on. But during that time, I definitely wasn't his side piece. And he knows that too. But I felt like when I spoke to him, he told me like the night before I was doing the most when it comes to like crying and all this stuff, how I felt. And I guess he said what he said out of anger and try to make me look bad, I guess. I don't know. It was wild. It was definitely wild. It was very selfish, being that I just had our baby. Like, it was very selfish. And
Does he apologize to you?
no.
Really?
He's just like that, though. As you can see, you see in his interview, he said, does he regret anything? He said, nope. I live life without regrets as well. But if there's something I could take back, I feel like, or handle differently, like I will say that. Like, that shows accountability. Like, that's maturity. Especially take away everything else. It's like we have a kid together. Like, anybody I've ever dated, like, I've never been friends with. Like, I'll block them. Like, I would never hear from them.
Go to I love you to don't ever talk to me again.
I'm just like that. Like, I'll cut you off and never see you. You're not part of my life anymore. So it's definitely been a challenge to like have to keep this relationship and friendship whenever it becomes that. But I feel like it's a challenge on my maturity as well. So I like it because it's like, okay, obviously the relationship is way different now, and it's like you can't get emotional, like you can't, so just working through it. It's a little hard, but almost had to go there, like for me to let go.
Why?
I mean, maybe not had to go there, but
You were in it.
I was in it. Like,
you were in
who
love.
knows if I would have like stayed if we weren't on live. Like, I don't know. Like,
so you hear her speak about a few things again, explaining her experience with the baby and the relationship and how she felt on the exit, certain things she would do different, how she viewed him, what she viewed that night that live went up. I found it interesting that she called him the baby. Like at the beginning of the interview, she called him by his rap name. And even things like that, that's what I mean. And that don't necessarily mean you don't love me, right? But the girls I date, right, they'll feel funny unless it's like some sexual shit. But like to you, to a stranger, we talking about dude I sleep with. Like we talking about dude so like, but they young though. So maybe they don't view it that way. I'm a little older. Maybe that's why I view it that way. But don't. Like if we become intimate on a different level, like I ain't just like we really intimate. Like don't be. If you talking in an elegant setting like that, and we have a child, you should probably say my real government name because our relationship ain't rapper to girl. That's how I would feel at that young age. You probably like, all right. So of course they're gonna ask about him. So let's frame his name that way. Maybe that's what it is. I could see that being the case, but again, this industry, man, when you get that amount of money, man, it get rougher and rougher for a black dude to find love. Let's listen to what the baby said in response to this interview, and then we'll come back with some game.
First of all, I don't respond a different way, but I gathered myself and I decided to respond this way. First of all, I feel like you waited too late. I told you back in December you should capitalize off the situation, so I feel like that's a bad move. I also feel like it's a green move for your label to have you do drop the interview the same time you dropping a new song. I feel like y'all kind of showing y'all hand. I feel like y'all should have put that together better. I also feel like before we got on your brother, you was just at the London with me that whole week getting busy. And I also feel like you should tell them folks the real reason why I put you out is because you was stalking my other baby mama, and that shit was affecting, my relationship with my princess, my big girl. And that's why I had to make the adjustments, back in November. I'm grown, I'm an adult, you know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gotta coexist with nobody who too toxic for me and who don't serve me well, you know what I'm saying? So I owe the world no explanation for that. But even, you know, when I could have cleared my name, I took the high road, and I ain't tripping about that. I'm proud of that. Because I could have smashed on all that, but that would have, you know, that would have left Shorty, you know. And I ain't with that. I don't want Shorty broken. I just didn't want you around me no more, you know what I'm saying? And just like today, you know, I was finna have another birthday party for my princess. You done got on her line, playing. Just like before, you affected my relationship, you know, with my other children, because now you see you causing stuff over here. You need to just stay over there where you at. You see what I'm saying? But sell your records, do your thing. And there's a whole lot more I could say, but I'm not going to say none of it at all. It's all good. I just want to get on here and just speak my piece, you know what I'm saying? I'm speaking my piece all year. I'm speaking my piece all 2022. See what I'm saying? So now I'm going to go get back on set and get back to work. I call my baby in a minute. Hopefully you let me talk to her.
So that was the baby's response to what Dana Lay has did in regards to package the interview and the song together and released it. Now let's just deal with what's happening. This is a rollout for a song release. And this is why I say there's a thin line, man, because in our culture, we are dealing with things that need to be expressed and explained. Certain things, right? We need to get it out and have these sessions to be able to help other people. But packaging it with a song and framing it around dude's name, like, it's crazy that he is able to identify that. So he's saying, like, hey, I told you should have been done this. Number one, you late on the rollout. Number two, he's saying that you dropped the interview and the song the same day like you Dirk or something. You can't really do it like that. You probably should have dropped the song, let it get some traction. Then 2 weeks later, dropped in, or a week later, 7 days later, 5 days later, drop the interview and run that same cycle again. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is him understanding that they packaging something based on our relationship and our thing and trying to sell it to the public. I found interesting that even in her part, she spoke about, because I have this trait. I'm not sure if this is something that everybody has, but she said that, yo, it's been rough on her because usually after she's done with you, she's done with you. In my relationships, like, I can love you right now, and then later you'll feel like he didn't ever love me. When it's on, it's on. When it's off, it's off. And the crazy part about it is neither one of those are fake, right? The love is real, but the fuck you is real. The love is super real. I love you when I say I love you, but when I say fuck you, it's fuck you. And I can do both them to the same person. It just kind of depends on the circumstances of the situation. But when it's on, boy. When it's off, it's kaput. It ain't nothing no more. When I love you, I love you. But boy, when I don't love you and I say fuck you, you know I put the house on fuck you. Let me talk about this and address the culture a little bit about misinformation and how the culture seems to. This is why I say there has to be a shuffle of the deck. We have to have a concentrated effort about what we dealing with. 42 Doug, Tekashi 6ix9ine, Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez situation. There's been a mass media dump of bullshit into the stream, right? I see everybody come speaking about 42 Doug, about him supposed to be sovereignty. He filed sovereignty. That ain't true. And people was running with that. The lawyer came, that's not true. I see people say, yo, the person from Meg said that she lied. Yo, they reported what Meg said when she went to the doctor, bro. Like, this been out, like, you dig, but you see it make the runs. That's why I be mad, man, because I got certain clips that I think that affect the culture, certain conversations I see from other brothers in the culture. I'm like, ooh, that conversation needs to be amplified, and it don't get nothing. But I see misinformation go from left to right. Let me explain both situations. I'll start with the 42 Doug situation. 42 Doug was in a situation where, if I remember correctly, in 2011, he caught a gun charge. He caught a gun charge because he was at a shooting range with a gun, and I think they went in, got the footage, and identified he was at the range, and they charged this dude with that gun. He didn't get no jail time, but they gave him 3 years probation. He took the probation, from my understanding, failed a couple drug tests, and had to do some time for the drug test. When it was time to do the time for the drug test, he didn't show up. His lawyer says his understanding was that he had filed something and he was waiting on a new court date. A couple of your big platforms out here said that he filed sovereignty and said that he don't have to apply to no rules around here. Again, our culture has a high level interest in bullshit. But let's deal with the facts of it. 42 Doug had a run-in with Tekashi 6ix9ine. The little run-in online where they went back and forth talking about fighting, and he was saying something. Set me up for the money. You talking about you want to fight, talking about you will smack somebody, this and that. Him and Tekashi went back and forth. And after that, according to Lawyers for Workers, the feds activated to try to find where 42 Doug was at. Now, this is according allegedly to Lawyers for Workers. This is why people don't want to get into it with Tekashi 6ix9ine, because he may be a resourceful option. He may be even more resourceful to the feds than they intended. They may have intended he was a one and done. For some reason, they've allowed him to get back out and plug back into the culture with the ability to do the same thing to some more families. I'm telling you, and they telling me they don't think Loon can get rich in this shit. You can't be serious. And I did all I did in the street. They got a dude that they letting get out of prison after he done showed you what it's like when the pressure's on. I done showed you what I don't even expect nothing else out of him. I can't beef with him. Ain't no beef. It can't be no beef. I don't even view you like that. You see what I'm saying? But my thing is that 42 Doug got into it with him, and then now the feds activate, let's find him, let's go ahead and get him. Because it had been, I think, it been some time since he was supposed to had turned himself in. But that involvement, according to sources, fast-tracked some sort of process to get him in custody. Now he's facing 5 years for not showing up. I think the lawyers will work that out. We'll see what happens. But again, in the last couple of months, I've been able to identify how the culture just to report anything. We can deal with the Meg situation. Again, this is not new information. I'm not sure how it got repackaged and put out. Now, maybe it's new, introduced in court or something like that. It may be something happened. I hadn't had a chance to look at it. We just try to get a game a little bit today in regards to this. I'm more interested in understanding what this does to the case. Now, this does do something to the case it shows inconsistency. And the benefit of the doubt lives inside of inconsistency. Right? And so when you in a situation like Tory, you looking for the benefit of the doubt, which lives inside inconsistency. If I can prove that you said this and this, did this and that, and none of these things match up, you said we wasn't sexually involved, and I got you on camera saying that tied up tonight or some bullshit like that, that's when things that's when we able to create reasonable doubt, which then can create a scenario where I can be exonerated of all charges. This is how we look at that, right? I'm starting to be a little bit exhausted dealing with the Tory thing. I've been saying it for months now. The Tory and Meg situation has me exhausted. I'm interested in how it'll play out, but I don't see any good ending out of it. I don't see anything positive coming out of it. Either way it goes, there's going to be a problem in regards to the viewing from the viewing public. You see what I'm saying? There's going to be a problem. So for me, I'm just trying to figure out, is there any information left in this situation for us to learn from? If not, I'll move on, because there's too many good things out here to learn from. There's too much going on in this big world, man, for us to be right. So let them folks work that out. Again, misinformation in our culture needs to be, and for me, with my platform and podcast, I'm having conversation, right? So I'm not acting as any kind of for sure anything. I'm not the smartest man on the block or nothing like that. We just having conversation about topics, trying to comb through some things. I'm just a curious dude. Like, I want to talk to different kind of people. I'm just one of them dudes that want to know what's going on with a lot of different things. And so we try to provide that runway. And let me walk this back too. I got to start off, because you guys are here who always come. You are following the journey. So let me speak about, because a couple weeks ago I spoke about the Hollywood Walk of Fame and how some people are starting to view the Hollywood Walk of Fame a certain way because some of our black people from our culture has started to be included in that process. And I want to let my audience know that I have now been presented new information, and I am fully aware that the Hollywood Walk of Fame is bullshit. My apologies to my audience, because I tried to figure out why people were saying what they were saying, so I dug a little deeper. You know, I like to have a little information about the things that I'm trying to speak about. So when I dug deep, I said, oh, Lord. I was just in LA, and to be honest with you, we walking down the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I don't know nobody. I didn't know nobody. But shit, I figure he's somebody to his people, because I see Ashanti up there, Khaled up there, Jay, certain people up there. These names got to be somebody. This is what I'm thinking. Until I figured out this is high level game they putting down in LA, baby. This high level jujitsu mind tricks we got. Boy, I'm telling you, boy, if you just pay attention, boy, some people done put some game down that's lasting hundreds of years. That Hollywood Walk of Fame is game. And I dug deep in it and figured out that they cost $40,000 for all you got to do is pay for the star. I said, man, that's why everybody was saying, man, they just putting people on the Walk of Fame. I thought they were hating on black people. But it was somebody that got one now. I said, now hold up, man. That dude sell white t-shirts. You know what I'm saying? He got a Hollywood star on the Walk of, right? But it was, in all seriousness, I was just thinking to myself like, yo, I need to figure out what is happening though. Because that is a little too far. What's happening? And I looked into it, and if you pay for the star, you can get one. Crazy knowing that. As prestigious as that was. We used to look at that like that was, but it was high level game. See, the internet crushed all that. I can follow them people. That's over with. See what I'm saying? That's about as close as you could have got to Wesley Snipes back in the day. Go out to Hollywood. We might see Wesley. Oh, that's Wesley Snipes' name. You know what I'm saying? That's about as close as you can get back in the day. But now we can follow them people on the gram. It's over with. It's done. So now we'll sell a Hollywood stamp. Just come holler at us. All right, let's speak about Kendrick Lamar. Shout out Kendrick. He just dropped his album. And again, it's been so much going on in the culture, man. I hadn't had a chance to speak about music a lot. But shout out Kendrick. He just dropped his album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Kendrick is great. We know what Kendrick does. I think there is something to be said about him being able to move the needle and his presence in the market just at the flick of his wrist. I still don't put him and Drake in the same thing. I think Drake is doing a different thing culturally than Kendrick is doing. They're both effective, and I think if they could, really, they don't even have to marry it. They can kind of stay away from each other and just operate in both those ecosystems. They overlap sometimes, but really they can both operate without overlapping, and that's just rap hip-hop talk for the hip-hop heads. But Kendrick dropped, his first video was Hard 5. He was accused by some dude, AK, signed to Universal. Makes me almost think this was a Universal play to kind of bite off a little bit of the momentum that Kendrick had. But he came out and said that Kendrick stole this concept. And for those of you that listen to Loon, because we'll get into Kendrick's album, but we're going to deal with this first. For those of you listen to me, I'm always fighting for the up-and-coming creator or even the creator period doing business with these tycoon businesses that will take your idea and don't understand your idea or how you try to, you know, let me be true to me, empower me as a creator, right? And don't steal from me. When you got unique talking points, man, in this game, it's easy for them to steal. A lot of these dudes getting paid to do a lot of talking, and they running out of things to talk about. So if you was a gold mine for little talking points, they'll try to muzzle you and just pull from you. You know, because they feel like when they say it, it make it bigger. But we're going to deal with who stole what. We're going to take a look at both these videos in real time and then we'll come back with what we think about it. I haven't even saw both the videos. I've heard the songs because I listened to Kendrick album. I haven't heard this other dude's song. We'll listen to both of them, and then we'll come back with the actual. We'll come back with some game. If you need to see the video and see us going back and forth, go to Pateron.com. It's up there, podcast, the day of the audio dropping. If not, you can wait. I think it'll be 2 weeks behind on YouTube, FOGFO TV on YouTube. But let's take a look. And we're going to take a look at this dude, AK's first.
Think about what.
For those of you listening, this is the guy who said that Kendrick Lamar stole this concept. Let's look at what's happening, okay? Looks like he has a backdrop behind him. Okay, let's just look. I'm trying to lower the music so we won't get a copyright, but let's look. So he has eyebrows pop up on his eyes and tattoos on his face. All right, let's look at Kendrick's. I always wonder how these dudes get deals, man. There's so many dudes in the hood that need deals. And not no disrespect to Holmes, but like I know some dudes in the hood that need deals. I be wondering how dudes get deals that's just in these kind of situations. Now, let's listen to Kendrick. Shout out AK, I think that's his name. Let's listen to Kendrick and see what we get from Kendrick. I think again, man, if I had to use my mind and I had to guess, allegedly, I would say that there's probably someone in the boardroom's idea to say, yo, let's latch on to that. The concept is enough for the casual consumer to kind of get confused. He's big enough to, let's see if we can get 3% to look at that. That still looks like 400,000 or 500,000 people. So let's take a bite at that. I think from a business perspective, someone came up with that because we dealing with Kendrick doing something that high level. That's not the same thing. But Loon stands with the creator. You all oftentimes hear me speak about how I believe innovation will come from the middle or from the bottom because the current structure, the current rules already work for the people that's in position. What they have to do now is their game is switched to be able to latch on to someone that's on the way up. Because if you don't do that, then you'll be dealing with a Young Thug and Lil Wayne situation. Just hold your. Some of these people you're going to try to quiet going to get bigger than you, and they're going to say, you tried to quiet me, right? And that's just going to be enough to kill the little bit that you have left, right? But nonetheless, I usually do stand on the side of the young creator, but I don't believe that Kendrick stole that idea. Now, I do want to say there is a business in video guys stealing concepts from younger video guys, bigger rappers stealing ideas, songs, ad-libs, cadences from younger rappers, bigger podcasting, stealing talking points and things from smaller podcasting. It kind of comes with the money, right? Because once you get money off of whatever craft you in, whether that be rapping, whether that be an athlete, podcasting, whatever you do, now it becomes your influence. It's no longer stealing. It's now your influence because you get paid to be on a high level doing this, right? So it's like, it's a different thing. It's only stealing when you're doing it from someone that's trying to make a living from it or making a lesser living than you from it, and you take it and use it and they don't have any leverage to even identify that was part of their arsenal that you have now put in your repertoire. That's when the blurry lines come. But when you become the biggest man on the block and people start to incorporate things you do, that's no longer stealing. That's now you being influential in the market. You got the biggest hat. You got the biggest hat. So I was seeing, even with our culture, like I was seeing with the KKK posts, when people were saying, yo, when the KKK gonna get indicted for Rico, because they picked Thug and YSL, and they always picking black people up, gangs and this, that, and the third. There's things happening. Again, there's a target on the backs of people who they can't identify with. Liberation is viewed as war, as a threat when you're dealing with racist individuals. These people don't have any desire to understand the people, understand the circumstances. They care more about their food than they do the circumstances of the people that may or may not be committing these crimes that they're charged with. And say, don't leave the chicken in the oven too long. It'll make the crust hard. They never say, yo, look at the conditions of what them babies going through, what you think they're making them. Don't nobody worry about what's happening down there. They care about these other things. So again, just because you got our color, I keep telling you, that ain't enough. Y'all want to vote in people because they black. Vote in this, but it's our first black such and such. Yeah, and she going to get in there, or he may get in there and try to prove a point to the white man. So he going extra hard, and he got a little bit more understanding. So now I can reach for things that may or may not be clear to the white folks and shouldn't be used as evidence. But because I understand them, because I'm part of the culture, it allows me to blur those lines. It's high level games being put down. Tip posted that, right? And I just identify and watch the culture. Tip posted, it go everywhere. But I seen Young Scooter post that. I seen a dude from my neighborhood post. I seen a lot of dudes post that may didn't have their reaches Tip. So we need a Tip to post that, right? Amongst other things, we need people in our culture to be posting to amplify. But it's just funny how once he posted, now it's word that it be posted everywhere. It's crazy. You see what I'm saying? And you can't say you didn't see it, because once it's moving in our culture, it's moving in our culture. You see what you want to see when you are in charge of these blogs and things. So again, just watching. But again, I don't think Kendrick stole the concept. He dropped this album. I listened to it while I was riding. I didn't get a chance to really get what I thought I was gonna get from it. So I'm gonna give it a listen when I have some real time. I think he deserves for you to put the headphones on and really indulge in it. What I find interesting though is that, and what I would like to talk to Kendrick about, is how do you get that luxury from the audience? Because let's just say if a Meek or even a Drake, when you drop, they don't give you what, I won't say Drake, because Drake may get that luxury because he's so big, but let's say like a Meek. When Meek drops, the audience doesn't want to give him that second listen, that third listen, or that luxury to say, yo, man, maybe I can, let me try to digest that. And I want to ask Kendrick, what is that? What is that? I'm not sure Cole gets that. Cole may get that. But there's a lot of artists that, their first swing means so much. Like when you drop that first day, they going to try to run with, man, this ain't it. They ain't going to say this should be viewed as art and this is a different thing, even though what Kendrick is doing is a totally different thing than anyone else. Right? Totally different type of approach to even music, right? So it should be digested different. I'm just wondering how that same audience doesn't lend that luxury to other rappers. It's an interesting thing that Kendrick's been able to do with the audience to make them give him to know that he's changing something. Like these niggas rapping, what you listening to right here is the next thing or something, and they give him that grace. I think that's interesting, very interesting to me. And I want to speak to him or whoever created the environment with his audience and his consumers, because these people are consuming his music no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, and when I say no matter what it is, I mean this approach totally different than the last approach and totally different than the current market. And they're accepting it for exactly what it is. So he's done something to activate his audience in a way that's just, it's a different relationship. Something's happening there. And I think it should be noted and spoke about, because that is a masterclass on being able to, on having an easy transition. You'll be able to transition into things easy like that. I heard somebody say, they just now learning he had a new baby. I don't think the coach is interested in all that from him. Again, him and Drake is doing a different thing. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like in the NBA, two high-profile players, but this dude over here doing this Mike Jordan over here. Yeah, Mike Jordan got a different thing. Yeah, we balled at the same time. We both top 50. And if I ain't in the gym, you the man. But boy, when I show up in the gym, you looking at what you supposed to be dealing with when you talking about high level. You see what I'm saying? And it's like them dudes is doing two different things in the league, but they both is averaging 40, 10, and 15. See what I'm saying? And that's a matchup thing if they want to get deeper into it and see who's who. It's like, all right, now it's matchup. Can you do when he does this, can you do it? Okay, no, Drake can do this, Kendrick can do this. All right, both of them can do this. Can you do this when he do? Nah, he can't do this. So boom, he got a chick, you got an X. He got a chick, you got to start checking shit off the box. But again, I think that just those conversations are cool. But to me, man, Drake is, to me, being able to serve all them people at once. Drake got the trap open. Drake hard to deal with. He got the trap open. He in every single lane. And when you able to do that, man, and you make the kind of music. See, it's hard to, people tend to say, see, the lane that Kendrick operating in is that lane I was just talking about, where it's like they give you that luxury to, hold on, give him a second listen. Make sure you got the right headphones, the right setting, cut the candles on, make sure he in your vibe. He giving high level game, pay attention. Right? That type of, I think he's been able to build an audience in that type of arena when that's been hard for people before him. Right? Nas built it in that kind of way too, where it was, he would do a song backwards and certain things that would resonate in a way where maybe only Nas could. But when you look at Drake, being able to operate in that little lane where you need a song that's hot on TikTok and you need a motherfucker that the streets fucking with, it's rough. That's a rough little lane. Future been right there for a while. It's a rough little lane, and Drake operates there and pop and this but I'm talking about to stay relevant in that little hip hop trap type lane right there for that long. That's a very hard thing. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people can't keep finding that sound, keep going number one with one of these type vibes that go cross in the trap and out the trap, right? It kind of serve all these people. That's a hard lane to just keep hitting in. Just keep hitting in that lane right there. Kendrick done hit in that lane a couple times, but we talking about dude keep hitting in that lane. You know, and that's hard. And Future stays there. And that's an unpredictable little space. At least it has been. That little space where you the hottest trap type thing, or you can send a song through the clubs and get it popping, or you can send a song through the girl's phone and get it popping for a while. That shit usually fluctuates, and them dudes been able to live there for a while. And again, I don't think it's celebrated enough. The ability to activate the audience in this new age for these guys on both sides, and a lot of the rap dudes in the new age era that's powerful, it's just not spoke about enough, and we try to amplify it over here at It's Up There podcast. That's what it's about. Couple more things I'll get to, and then we'll get out of here today. Let me say this for the culture and the people who are unaware of how things happen. A lot of you picture taking niggas are useless. Some of the most famous niggas you know can't push a button to get nothing done. There's a thing that happens in this game where a lot of the people who are impactful behind the scenes don't even have a lot of followers. The people with the followers are marketing themselves as an opportunity into the game, as an opportunity into your dreams coming true and things like that. So they don't have a lot of followers. The dudes that have a lot of followers that you think may be popping, and man, damn, I thought you and dude was cool. Then you'll ask dude about dude, be like, oh yeah, that's the homie, but nah, we ain't really cool like that. Then especially you to take the pictures in the airports and stop a with his daughter on the way to get ice cream, interrupt the dinner to take a picture, and then you posting it. Homie just told me I with the net thing with the, yeah. He said, I'm next up. They gonna melt me down and pull me on the industry. I'm popping. And he ain't even like, he don't even know you. Like, you just stopped that man somewhere. He got his bags in his hand. Yo, we see the man's suitcase in his hand, bro. You done stopped that man in the backstage of his concert, man. We see, yo, man, stop it. But this, if you about it, they'll sell it to you. They selling sand like it's brown sugar, and you better know the difference. But I want to talk about this Cardi B situation. So a situation happened with Cardi B at a club. I'm not sure the club, with a DJ named DJ Will. The situation was very unique because Cardi B is there with Offset having a good time, and for some reason he starts to announce that Nicki Minaj is in the building and starts to play Nicki Minaj records. The very checkered past that Cardi B and Nicki Minaj has been on display, and I hate to see it. But we must talk about it simply because we do a podcast and we got people that's watching that may learn something from the situation. Let's take a look at what happened with Cardi B and DJ Will at this club with Offset standing there. For those of you listening, she's now playing a Nicki Minaj song. Offset's identifying the DJ, trying to figure out what's going on. Look like DJ. Now Cardi has the mic. She threw the mic. So as you seen now, clearly offended her, and she, you know, got in a bravado bag, you know what I'm saying? They trying to like, yo, what you trying to stir? What we doing? Like, and so shortly after that, the DJ comes out and he says this.
What's up, everybody? I didn't want the day to go by without giving my side of the story about what happened last night in the club with Cardi B. I'm reading so many stories and narratives about things that happened and didn't happen, and I just want to clear the air. I prepared a little statement that I'm going to read, and hopefully it does just that. Last night in the club, a promoter, manager passed me along information to shout out, and unknowingly I ran with it. I never meant any disrespect to Cardi B, Offset, their family, friends, or fans in any way, shape, or form. It was an honest mistake, and I feel horrible about it. Normally, that's something that I would never do. I always check and double check information, but I was caught up in what I thought was a hip-hop moment. I accept my responsibility for what happened and send my heartfelt apologies to Cardi B and Offset. I meant no malice. It was definitely no setup. I was simply there to rock the party, which is what I do for a living. In that club from the DJ booth, the view is very obstructed, and I was trusting on what other people were telling me all night long about who was in the club and what was going on, and that was a big mistake, clearly. It is definitely not the way that I want to go viral. Again, my sincere apologies to Cardi B and Offset. What happened was whack on all levels, and I'm pissed off that my name is a part of that. I wish I could take it back. Hopefully my track record and relationship throughout the years in this industry can attest to that. I don't have problems with anybody. I don't get involved in anyone's issues, and hopefully I can be forgiven. Once again, Cardi, I am truly sorry about what happened. You didn't deserve that, and I'm mortified. So, my apologies.
So again, you hear his side. He says that he would pass the note. They were there, and then that's what happened. Could have got whooped for that. Could have got himself in some things just because, I don't know, it does something. It does something like us in this same building, we drunk, we all lit, we both in that bravado bag. Like sometimes, but I've seen live in the club together. I seen that time when it was on fire in Atlanta, and it was Gucci and T.I. and G's in the same club at the same time. I done been in there before, like, so I know that it can happen, but sometimes it be thick in there. It be tense in there, man. Any little thing, boom, it's on. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was just an unfortunate situation that she got caught in. So, we'll report about the death of Lil Keed. For those of you unaware, Lil Keed from Atlanta. Heart goes out to Baby J, they whole team, they whole family. That situation is heavy, especially on top of with, Thug and them just now being indicted. Got it. Hold your head. All them people over there, I know how they get. And so he was 24 years old, a part of the YSL label, part of that whole infrastructure over there. Him and God, a couple of dudes was the last voices, from a label perspective, of trying to carry what's left of, just kind of keep the buttons on the shirt while the guys kind of try to figure out how they can plan what's next for their future, right? So let's read from page 6. Lil Keed rapper on Young Thug's label, dead at 24. So Lil Keed, the rapper signed to Young Thug's Stoner Life label, died Friday in Los Angeles. He was 24. A rep confirmed the musician's death to the New York Times on Saturday, hours before Keed was scheduled to perform at a music festival in Charlotte, North Carolina. A cause of death has yet to be revealed. Keed's brother, fellow rapper Lil Got also confirmed the tragic news via Instagram. Can't believe I seen you die today, bro. I did all my cries. I know what you want me to do, and let's go hard for mama, dad, and our brothers. Nature and White Boy. Shortly after news broke, fans of the Atlanta-based rapper took to social media to react and share their condolences. 3-6 Mafia, Trippie Redd. Meanwhile, his girlfriend shared a heartbreaking post via Instagram. Love you so much. I love you so much, baby. What I'm supposed to do without you? I can't breathe right, sleep right, nothing. I don't want to talk to nobody, Kid. I can't take this. What am I supposed to tell nature? What am I going to tell our new baby? Kid, I just told you the other day, if you left me with these 2 kids, I was going to lose my mind. My mind is lost, baby. She continued, I'm so sorry I didn't fly to LA. I knew I could have saved you, baby. Really showed me all you needed was my love. You gave me that, I gave you that. I'm sorry. Please just tell me it's a dream. Come home. You protected us. Why, Dad? So, I mean, people are hurt, man. The 2 were named in a sweeping gang indictment with numerous other rappers from the label. Per the New York Times, the indictment alleged that YSL was a criminal street gang responsible for murders, robberies, drug dealing, and more. YSL is a family. YSL is a label. Keed, who was not arrested or named in the indictment, reportedly wrote on social media, YSL is a way of life. YSL is a lifestyle, not a gang. Young Thug's attorney, Brian Steele, in a statement to page 6 at the time, Mr. Williams has committed no violation of law whatsoever, and we will fight this case legally and zealously. Mr. Williams will be cleared. So anytime they mention that case, if they're reputable, they want to kind of put the lawyer's statement there too to presume his innocence. That's why they put that there. But yeah, man, so we had a nice, long, good pod today for my people. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. Also, man, with Kendrick and Drake, that talk I just had in the podcast on the luxurious audio adventure we've been on this Up There podcast. I forgot to mention, I respect Kendrick and I respect Drake in the space. Everybody knows that I'm high level game, so I'm dealing with information that calls for me to respect both individuals. But I think it's being reported that Kendrick doing 325. Drake last time at bat did 610. That's double the numbers. Does that mean anything out there? Is this thing on? It's Up There podcast. Is this thing on? I said Drake sold 610 his last time at bat. Kendrick looks like he's doing 325. I'm not sure, and I love both those guys. This is just fun for the culture to speak about, right? We just involved in the game. Is this thing on though? 610. 610 at bat. 325. Shout out to both numbers, big numbers. Shout out to Kendrick putting major high level game down. But Drake is Drake in this space. We'll talk about it more next week. It's Up There Podcast, the biggest homie. Appreciate everybody tuned in, tapped in. Yes, Lord.